one, Adam alayhi salatu wassalam, he told to Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, "O Allah, you have given so much of power and control to the shaitan over me. How is it possible for me to save myself from the shaitan? You have given so much of power to the shaitan over myself, and I am expected not to go by what the shaitan says. So the power that you have given to shaitan over myself is far more. So I am going to be suppressed, shaitan is going to be dominant, and how is it expected of me to save myself from the onslaught of the shaitan?" Allah tabarak wa ta'ala then said to Adam alayhi salatu wasalam that, "O Adam, I have appointed such a being over every one of your child." That means Ibn Adam, the son or the children of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. I've appointed a being over every child to protect the child from the onslaught of the shaitan. It is mentioned in the hadith that every human being has malaika and angels with him or with her. These are angels of hifazat. If these angels weren't with us, shaitan would have taken us and dumped us somewhere and destroyed us, and we probably wouldn't have been existing, or probably if we were living, they're worse than animals probably. It is only the fazl and the grace of Allah that Allah tabarak wa ta'ala appointed the malaika of hifazat to protect us from the onslaught of the shaitan. Adam alayhi salatu wasalam then requested to Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, "Zidni ya Allah, O Allah, you have granted me this one bounty, but give me another bounty." So Allah tabarak wa ta'ala then said to Adam alayhi salatu wasalam that, "O Adam, with every good deed that you do, we will multiply it 10 times. But if any wrong you do, then you'll be punished for that, or you will be accountable only for one of them." That again, the great bounty. You can see from this that the rahmat of Allah on mankind. Adam alayhi salatu wasalam then said, "O Allah, visiting, Allah increase for me." Then Allah tabarak wa ta'ala obviously just speak about this increase in the context of the shaitan having power over mankind. So Allah tabarak wa ta'ala then said that my doors of tawbah, doors of repentance will be opened right until a person lives. Now there are 3 bounties that Allah tabarak wa ta'ala has given each and every one of us as a deterrent against the shaitan. One, Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala, who came up to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he was crying very, very severely. Umar radiallahu ta'ala, we know what type of a person he was. Student of hadith will know, any small thing happened, Umar radiallahu ta'ala would say, "Da'ni ya Rasulallah, kulhu." Leave me, O Prophet of Allah, let me kill this person. He wouldn't tolerate anything. He was a person who had a heart like that. And for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to see Umar radiallahu ta'ala crying was quite surprising. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked him, "O Umar, ma yubkika, what is that makes you cry?" He said, "O Prophet of Allah, there's a youngster there standing by the door. He is crying so profusely that his crying is making me cry." Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told Umar radiallahu ta'ala, "Umar, call the youngster inside." Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked the youngster, "Why do you cry? You're crying so much that you made a person like Umar radiallahu ta'ala also cry." what is that makes you cry? He said, O Prophet of Allah, I've committed a very, very big sin, a major sin. Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told him that if your sins are equivalent to the 7 skies, 7 earths, and all the mountains, if your sins are even more greater than all this, then you don't have to worry because Allah will forgive you. The youngster turned out and he was crying and he said to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, O Prophet of Allah, my sin is even more than the 7 skies, 7 earths and the mountains. Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked him that is your sin greater than the kursi of Allah? Ayatul Kursi is the kursi of Allah, and from what we understand, beyond our understanding and comprehension, but it is very, very vast and very, very great. Could your sin be greater than that? He said, O Prophet of Allah, according to his understanding what the kursi was, obviously far more greater, 7 skies, earth, mountains is the Prophet of Allah, my sin is even more greater than the kursi. Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam then asked him that is your sin even more greater than the arsh of Allah, the throne of Allah, because obviously the arsh of Allah is greater than the kursi of Allah. Is it greater than that? So he said, O Prophet of Allah, my sin is even greater than the arsh of Allah. So the big sin I've committed. Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam then asked him, is your sin greater or Allah greater? Is your sin greater or Allah greater? What else could the answer be? It's a rhetorical question. It's obvious that Allah is greater than everything, as Allah has said. Upon that, Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam then asked him, what is your sin? What sin that you committed? That it is so great, greater than the 7 skies, earth, mountains, greater than the kursi of Allah, greater than the arsh of Allah. Just that Allah is greater than that sin. What is that sin you have committed? He said, O Prophet of Allah, I was a kafan chore. You know the kafan chore? You know, a graveyard you go, and in those days, now probably in South Africa probably wouldn't hear about it, but up till now in India it's still a little prevalent. But previously it was even more prevalent, and probably in India, you notice that when they bury a person, you know that kafan, they take like a red kind of a spray or something and they spray on that thing. So if a person has to steal that kafan from there, if they stand it, probably if you wait, everybody will know that this person is a kafan chore. You probably did in the kitab also the bash. You wonder where that concept came up from. Don't do it as a profession here. Nevertheless, this person, he goes and he says, O Prophet of Allah, I was a kafan chore for many, many years. So once a young girl, she was buried. And the moment the household left the graveyard, I went there and I dug the grave. And I left her naked, I took out all the kafan that was on her, I removed that and I ran away from there. He says that when I ran away from there, then the shaitan overpowered me. And so it was a young girl, she was very good looking, just that she was dead, but her body, she was fresh, she was just buried right now. The shaitan overpowered me, so I went back to the graveyard, in the qabr, I went and made zina with her. And he says that Allah out of his qudrat and out of his power, there's probably some students of hadith, they have some ishkal here, but Faqih Abu Layth Samarkandi, being a faqih, he's a muhaddith as well, he narrates this incident. And he says that Allah gave life to this girl. This girl that addresses this person, and he says, are you not ashamed? Firstly, you left me naked in the army or in the army of the dead. Not everybody got the clothing, everybody got kafan, I got no kafan. And on top of that, you are letting me be presented to Allah in the state of janabat. Don't you feel ashamed about that? So this hit his heart so badly that he then regards this sin of his to be such a major sin, more than the 7 skies, earth, mountain, kursi and the arsh of Allah. Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam heard this, and Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sent him away. Person went away, And for some time, he spent some time making tawbah. About 40 days. And then, he made dua to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. He said, oh Allah, that when you forgive me, then first inform Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam about my forgiveness. Nabi Kareem Jibreel Alayhi Salatu Wasalam then came to Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and asked Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that did you create creation or did Allah create his creation? He said, Allah created the creation. Do you provide sustenance for the creation of Allah? Does Allah provide?